Hey guys, how's it going? This is James from Butler Farms, and just wanted to do a quick video here about the most important garden tool that you have. I've got a bunch of them. My wife says I have too many. I've got hand tools, garden tools, tillers, tractors, all those kind of things. But there's one piece of equipment, there's one tool that I cannot do without. And I'm going to show you what that is right now. Let me get the camera turned around and we'll show you what that is. This is a soil sample. Now you say, well, that's not really a tool. Well, it actually is, because what we have here is the recommendation for my land here at Butler Farms. Now, anywhere that you are in the United States, there is an agricultural college somewhere near you that for a very nominal fee you can send a soil sample off, and that soil sample will be analyzed and they'll turn around and send something very similar back to you. Here in Alabama, as you can see, that would be Auburn University. And so I did two different garden plots here. Here's the I just called it garden number 1, and here's garden number 2 here at the bottom. And excuse me, I went around to the garden and I took scoopfuls of dirt, probably 10 or 12 different spots in the garden, some higher up on the hill, some down in the bottom, and I put it all in a bucket and mixed it around real good. And from what I mixed together, that's what I put in the box to send off for a soil sample. Now, many of the garden tools I have, even some of the hand tools, are 2 and 3 times what it cost me to do this. And I don't do this every year. It's usually every 2 to 3 years that I do this, just to see how my land's doing, how my soil's doing, and if I need to add anything to it. Because it does change over time. So I thought I'd just show you, to me, this is the most important garden tool that you can have. Now, one of the things that they are going to break down for you is the NPK that's needed. Anytime that you look on a bag of fertilizer, there's 3 numbers on the front: NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. And when you get these soil samples back, I hope you can see this, they not only give you a score that goes along with that garden, but you can also see that they mark it with a letter. Now, obviously down here on garden number 2, this is phosphorus, and it is very low, whereas in garden number 1, it's in the medium range. So they've got, it goes from very low to medium to high to very high. And what I do with this is I plan what I am going to put on my garden to supplement the soil, to be able to allow it to grow as much as possible. Now, this garden number 1 is where I've been gardening now for several years. And what you can see here is out here, and another reason I do it is in Alabama we have extremely acidic soil in most places. And so I always like to see if I need to put any lime on my gardens, just like I do with my deer food plots and things like that. Well, as you can see here, we've got it in a range where I don't need to put any lime on it this year. Okay. Then, as you can see, let's see, you can see that we are in need of nitrogen. Okay. That's pounds per acre, so that's 120 pounds per acre. But you can also see that because of what I've done in the past, my phosphorus is in the medium level, which I'm probably going to leave that alone this year, and then maybe do another soil sample next year and see how that's doing. My potassium is high, my magnesium is high, and my calcium is high. So I don't have to add anything to that other than phosphorus if I choose to. Okay? So this garden number 2 down here at the bottom right now is not even a garden. It was in years past. For the last probably 15 years, it has been just lawn. It's covered in grass now. And so obviously I've got more work to do there. As you can see here on the phosphorus, it is very low. So if I do actually put this into production this year, whereas up here on garden number 1, I'm probably okay all the way across for phosphorus, or all the way across for all of these. In garden number 1, I probably wouldn't have to add anything this year. If I put this other piece of ground into production this year, I've got to address this phosphorus issue because we are in the very low range. Okay, as you can see here, the potassium is okay, the magnesium is okay, and again, I'm not going to have to add any lime because of that level there. Now, one thing that I suggest that you do, because this can be overwhelming when you get a chart back like this, when you send these off, they are going to obviously ask you for the soil sample, and it's good, like I said, to get a mix of soil from where you're going to be growing, not just all in one spot. And when you send it off, they are going to send you one of these printouts. Now, they also ask you what you're going to be using it for, and as you can see, I've put tomatoes and vegetables, and so they run it based on like regular, just generic garden vegetables, tomatoes, those kind of things, and I did that for both of them, and this is what I got. So what do you do if you find out something's low? Well, with the phosphorus and the potassium, you can add that. You know, it's probably better to wait till a little bit before planting time. With the nitrogen, you need to wait because especially nitrogen that most people use, and as far as fertilizer form, doesn't stay, I guess the right term would be, active for more than about 45 days. So if you are somewhere in that area, about around 30 days to 45 days. So if you don't have anything to add the nitrogen to, especially the plants that you are trying to grow, then it's going to lose effectiveness pretty quickly. So you're going to want to wait on that. The rest of it you can kind of bank in the soil. So that's why I'm not real worried about this medium level this year, because there is phosphorus there, obviously, and it's probably going to be more than enough to grow the vegetables that I grow. I'm definitely not going to be adding potassium this year, and I do need a little nitrogen. Now, the easiest thing, obviously, would be to get synthetic fertilizers, but I don't use those. I don't, and I'm not. If you choose to use them, that's fine. I don't use them myself. Simply because I'm trying to, let me get turned back around here where I can talk to you, simply because I want to keep all synthetic fertilizers and pesticides and herbicides out of my garden, and so that's just my choice. That's just what I do. So I will add supplemental material to my garden of organic nature, and you know, if you want a quick fix, I guess then synthetic is the way to go. I'm doing this for the long term. So even though I may add a phosphorus source, it may not on the next soil test immediately bump it up into that high category, but over time it's going to bank phosphorus in that soil, and over time, as I keep adding and adjusting, it will get into that high range where I desire it to be. But as I said, this year I'm probably going to leave it alone. Now that garden number 2, I have to address that phosphorus issue this year, and that's really the only thing, according to the soil sample, that I'm going to have to do. So I will take some steps to remedy that through organic means, and we'll do it as quickly as I can and go ahead and get it working in the soil, and add it again if I have to bump that number on up. Now, I'm not worried about whether it'll grow a crop or not. It will, and this is just optimal is what this is, and it's very generic. You know, again, if you put garden vegetables down there, that could cover, as you know, many different things. You can be more specific if you want to. Now, there are also private labs that will do this. I've never used a private lab. And I would assume that they charge more. So I use the agricultural colleges here in Central Alabama. I have not only here with my gardens, but also on my food plots where we deer hunt. We mostly have used Auburn University because it's here in the state. And but we also have used Mississippi State University, which from where I live is only about 90 miles away. But they'll do the soil samples too. So we have sent soil samples over there in the past. So no matter where you are in the United States, there is an agricultural college somewhere nearby, or a private lab somewhere nearby that can test your soil and tell you what you need. And then I always suggest, even though when I got this, I sat down and studied it and read it, I actually went by a farmer's cooperative, a feed and seed store here. And in most of these places, they have someone there that is very knowledgeable about these different levels and what that means. And believe it or not, they're not just trying to sell you something. When he looked over this sheet just to verify what I'd seen on it, he immediately said, well, I don't look like I'll be selling you any lime this year. You know, he said, you don't need this and you don't need that, and maybe a little phosphorus. So, you know, I trust that he's going to do me right on that, and kind of back up what I'm seeing and just verifying what I'm seeing. And so to me, it is the most valuable garden tool that you could possibly have. Here in Alabama, when I send it to Auburn University, I know someone's going to ask about how much is it. It is $10 per sample. And as you can see, I've sent 2 samples to them this year. So for $20, I know exactly what my soil contains in it now. I know what it needs to be at its optimum level. And over the next couple of years, again, this is not something I do every year. We do soil tests on our green fields where we hunt about every 3rd year. I usually do my garden soil test every other year, simply because that is one of our major food sources, and I want to make sure that it is right and that it is getting what it needs. So anyway, to me, that's the most valuable tool that you can have in the garden is knowledge. And this is a cheap form of knowledge. It is precise. It is scientific, and it gives you choices as to whether to how to address it through synthetic or organic means. And if you ask them, they could probably tell you if you're trying to be more organic and get away from synthetic. You can. I know that I could call Auburn University with these results and speak to someone that is much more knowledgeable than I am, that would tell me exactly what amendments that I could put in my soil to, for instance, get this phosphorus level up in my case, and do it organically. So they're willing to help you. That's what they're there for. And the information is invaluable if you're going to be growing your own food. So if you have a little spot that you're gardening, and maybe in the past it was productive, and it seems like every year it's getting less so, it's probably time to do a soil test. Even if you have a spot that is producing large amounts of food, it doesn't hurt to go ahead and have that soil test then either, to make sure that you can add something back to it that will keep it at its optimum level. So whether it needs to be fixed or whether it needs to be maintained, these numbers, these tests will tell you that, and you will be able to go from there. So anyway, that is my most important tool. None of the rest of this, of the tools that I use in the garden would mean anything if the soil is not right. You've got to get the soil right, or nothing else is really going to matter. You're going to be disappointed if your soil is so out of balance that it won't grow what you are trying to grow. So get your soil right, and this is just one way of doing it. It's usually a long process. You can do it quickly, but if you're trying to grow organically, it's probably going to take a little bit more time, but that's okay. Any little thing you can do working toward that goal will help. So anyway, I'm going to leave that with you, and I will see you soon. I appreciate you watching, and I appreciate you liking and sharing and subscribing and telling others about it. So until next time, this is James from Butler Farms, and we'll see you soon.